This is Tim Storm, former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. You're listening to Whaddya Say with DDJ. If you love professional wrestling, this is where you need to get your information. Don't miss this.
Welcome everyone to episode 7, the real episode 7 of Whaddya Say with DDJ. As always, I am your host DDJ, and before I get into my guest this week, I want to thank everyone as always for the love and the support and the feedback. I appreciate everyone who's taken a moment to listen to every episode I've put out, one episode, part of an episode, just taking some time to listen to the product I've been putting out. It's very much appreciated. My guest this week is CCW superstar, the man with the concrete right hand, Jackson P. Larkin. I think you're going to really enjoy this episode because I had a great conversation with him, which you're about to find out, and he is a genuinely good guy who I wish nothing but the best for in the future. So sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 7, the real episode 7 of Whaddya Say with DDJ, and my guest this week, Jackson P. Larkin. Alrighty, welcome to another episode of Whaddya Say with DDJ. This is the real episode 7 that I alluded to in the bonus episode that went out on Friday. With me tonight is the man with the concrete right hand, Jackson P. Larkin. Jackson, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
My pleasure. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you're from.
So I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, and I'm never going to leave probably, to be honest with you, unless a very lucrative opportunity comes about. But yeah, man, born and raised on the south side of Chicago, pretty much same song and dance that you hear, typical Southside urban kid trying to grow up to be somebody, and now he's slowly becoming somebody.
All right, is that somebody Chicago White Sox fan by chance?
Absolutely. If I got it, you know what though, I'll be honest with you. Baseball, probably not my first choice of sport, but if I'm choosing, I'm definitely choosing White Sox.
Good man, good man.
Without a doubt. Southside till I die, man.
You're right. Yeah, it's a good time to be a Southside fan right now. I mean, they just clinched the other day and stuff. They still have the best record in the American League as of this recording. So the playoffs are going to be a lot of fun.
It's wild, man. You know what's crazy? When COVID hit, I told everybody, I was like, watch this be the year that it's a Cubs and Sox World Series and none of us can go. And none of us can go to it.
You know what, though, to be honest with you, even if we had a Cubs Sox World Series, I would want to stay as far away from the city as possible because it would have just been utter chaos. You know what? Give me my recliner, beer in my hand, recliner up, TV on. I'm good.
It's the best seat in the house.
You got that right. So
it is the best seat in the house.
All right. So Jackson, how did you discover pro wrestling?
I think my path was a little different than most people. I discovered wrestling through a video game. You remember like the Blockbuster days when you
good times.
The Blockbuster days, exactly, where you and your parents would just run down the aisles and see what's cool. And I could be wrong about the game, but I think it was a Royal Rumble video game for Super Nintendo.
Yep.
And
I'm very familiar with that one.
I knew absolutely nothing about wrestling at this point. I'm just a 4-year-old kid just going through the aisles. And I remember I used to always pick Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect because they had the coolest music. And that's how I discovered wrestling. Still didn't know what it was. Then one day, my grandparents, who were a big influence on my wrestling or my love for wrestling, they were watching what I didn't know was WCW at the time, and also flipping back and forth with WWF as well. And then finally, when I was like, okay, now I can keep up with this, was the Tyson storyline with Austin and Michaels, because I knew who Mike Tyson was as a kid.
Mm.
So when I seen Tyson was doing the stuff with the guy that I used to always pick on the video game, I was like, I'm going to sit here and watch this. And then it turns out I love Stone Cold way more than Shawn Michaels, which is funny. So, yeah. So through video games and my grandparents, I am here.
Awesome. Fun little story about that Royal Rumble game. I remember, and this will kind of date me. I was at Dominic's, which, hasn't around anymore.
Yeah.
This is way back when they used to actually have like a little video store inside their store. And my mom was checking out one day, and I just happened to look over there, and I saw the game. And this just goes to show what kind of person my mom is. I don't want to say was, because she's still with me, and she still is this type of person to the day. She went over, signed up for a membership just so I could rent that game.
That's awesome.
And that's
awesome, man.
Yeah. So who besides Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect, because of their awesome music, when you actually started watching wrestling, who were some of like your early favorites?
Okay, so Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a big favorite. Booker T would probably be the one for me that actually like made me stick around, because you watch wrestling and you see all these characters, but like Booker T was the first character I saw that looked like me. And then when I saw him, he was wearing a championship belt. And then he comes out and he's got flames all around him. And I was like, this is the coolest dude on earth. This has to be the coolest dude on earth. I was like, this dude's coming out in sunglasses, yelling at the camera with a big shiny belt and flames sparking behind him. Who doesn't want to be that guy? So, like, Booker T definitely helped me stick around. My early favorites, definitely, Stone Cold, Booker T, D'Lo Brown, because for some reason he was just super entertaining.
Oh, D'Lo was great.
And 98 Chris Jericho, when he had Ralphus with him and he was in the Greenberg undefeated streak and like everything. Man of 1,004 holds. Like those were my early favorites. Like my overall favorites are still kind of similar, but a couple has changed now. But yeah, man, they definitely kept me into the TV. Oh, Rey Mysterio and Juventud as well. I used to watch their matches religiously as well.
When you said 98 Chris Jericho and you mentioned Ralph, this is like, I'm hoping he does the Man 1,004 holds and stuff, because that segment when he sat there and started reading the list, I'll never forget. Move number 1, arm bar.
Yes.
I mean, that was just awesome. Awesome.
He was awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, can you tell me, like I said, since Jericho 98 was one of your earlier favorites, what do you think about his ability to constantly evolve his character and change with the times?
It's unheard of, to be honest with you. It's wild to me that, I mean, he's been wrestling since what, like 92, maybe before that?
Around that time.
The fact that he can, like, anybody that can evolve continuously, it's envious. You see so many people get stuck in the same gimmick per se, or stuck in the same persona, and even stuck in the same moveset because people want it from them that much. Like this guy has gotten, like, it's not even just like the evolution, it's the fact that he can get anything over. And I think that's what keeps him going. He got the word "it" over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like people were popping for him to say, you're going to get it. So it's just the fact that he believes in everything that he does, which is what helps his evolution, I think. And I think it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, you look at that, not to mention the list. And that's
he became the pain maker.
I mean, he got a little bit of the bubbly on a t-shirt. I mean, just who does that,
He sold champagne.
Yep. which is really good, by the way. I don't know if you ever had a chance to try, but
I never got a chance to get it, man.
it's actually really good. A friend of mine and I went in on a couple of bottles. We split for his house at New Year's Eve, and it was actually really good. And I'm not a champagne guy, so if you ever get a chance, definitely get some because it's really good.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely, because I am a champagne guy. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm gonna definitely have to look into that.
Awesome.
He's awesome.
So Jackson, tell me about when you decided that professional wrestling is what you wanted to do, and what was your family like? What were the reactions of your family and your friends?
So I think truthfully, I think I knew when I was 8. When I was 8 years old, I knew. But you don't know how to pursue it when you're 8, or like when you're 16 even. Like I didn't know what to do. But I've always known that I wanted to do this because the most important thing is that it's the most, outside of like my mom and my sister and my grandparents, it was the most consistent thing in my life. It was always there. So I thought it was a sign. All these things that I've done. I've taken martial arts. It's come and gone. I've even done like mat wrestling, like high school level wrestling. It's come and gone. Like all these things that I've been into have come and gone, but pro wrestling has always been there for me. No matter what, it was always a guarantee. I knew what was happening Monday. I knew what was happening Thursday. I knew what was happening Saturday night on the U when they would show ECW at like midnight or 11, whatever time it was. I knew where wrestling was, and I knew I can always get to it. So I knew for a long time. As far as reactions go, everyone was super supportive. Everybody was like, well, it's about time. You know what I mean? Because when you know me, you know wrestling. Everybody was pretty much like, well, it's about time. Of course, the mom was like, yeah, I was kind of dreading this. Whatever. I don't want to be that parent that holds you back. I can't say that I like it, but I refuse to ever step on what you want to do. So that was pretty much the general reaction. My sister was excited about it. She was like it's about time. That was pretty much the general consensus.
Cool. Now, is she a fan of pro wrestling? No.
No, she's a fan of her brother. That's it.
You know what? That's more important when it comes right down to it. So
yeah, absolutely. She's a fan of her brother. And you know what? To be honest with you, a lot of to my knowledge anyway, a lot of my close friends and family are like barely even casual fans, if fans at all. But because they support me and love me so much, when I told everybody, the outpour of support was so like overwhelming. It kind of took me back a little bit, to be honest with you. But they're willing to watch this thing for me. They care about me, and that's more important than anything I can ask for. So I'm totally fine with that. That's more than enough for me,
I'm sure that definitely had to make you feel good when you got all that feedback when you told everybody.
Yeah, because I was definitely worried.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely worried.
Okay, so you've made the decision to become a pro wrestler. What was your quest like to find a wrestling school?
Kind of blessed, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I used to work at Jewel. I was I was turning cans. I was a facer, and there was a guy. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to Michael Stocks. He avid wrestling fan, like to the point where he had tapes that I didn't even know about, stuff that he knew about. Like he was just like this wrestling encyclopedia. And I was talking to him like, yeah, man, one day I want to train. And he got in contact with he got in contact with a man who we probably all know now as Matt Nix.
Oh yeah, I know him very well.
So yeah, I met Matt Nix maybe 10 years ago. So Michael Stocks, the guy I worked with at Jewel, knew Matt Nix, and Matt Nix told him to tell me where to go. So I started training for Chicago style wrestling with Steve Boz. He was my very first trainer.
Okay.
He was my very first trainer, and in that class was Alex Olson and Craig Mitchell and Matt Nix and those guys. I started training with those guys initially. Then, I couldn't afford it. I'll be honest. Like, money was affording wrestling school at that time with the job that I had and all that stuff going on, man. honestly, I just couldn't afford it. So took a break from it until I was able to like afford it again, and I contacted Matt Nix again. I was like, hey man, I want to get back in the game, and then he led me to Bryce Benjamin,
Okay.
or Jesus Bryce, whatever gimmick you're familiar with.
I've heard of both.
And, okay, good. And when I tell you, man, working with Bryce, it's one thing to go in and be like, I want to train to be a wrestler. And yeah, you're passionate about it, but like the stuff that he taught me that first run I had with him was incredible. It made me like just fall in love all over again, because he makes me think about things that I never even considered looking out for. He really like worked out my brain, and he worked out and the cardio was a beast too. But yeah, he got me like so reignited with everything. And then I had the pleasure of training with Pat Monix and Elena Black around that time too. We were always surrounded with some good people. The Green Kid, Storm Grayson, like we were surrounded. I was always surrounded by like good wrestlers, And then I took another pause because I had my first daughter. So. Okay. So, I gotta take care of baby girl first. So
absolutely
handled my business there. Got welcomed back to the freelance family again with Bryce Benjamin, and this time I had Isaiah Velasquez, who, in my opinion, has just taken me to levels that I didn't think I could get at, and I love that man like a brother, and he's been nothing but great to me. And I will sing both their praises until I have no more breath in my lungs. Those guys are very special, and anybody that wants to train in Chicago really needs to consider working with those guys, because, man, like it's one thing, because you see so many guys that go out there and they're good enough, but I feel like these guys are really trying hard to make me like the absolute best, and I love them to death for it.
That's awesome, because that's ultimately what all professional wrestling organizations like the Talent need to do, is they need to, instead of worrying about themselves, they need to not only, I guess maybe in addition to worrying about themselves, they need to worry about how they can make, everyone else better, because by making someone else better, you make yourself better. And then, obviously, the better you make yourself, the more money you can make. So it's like a win-win.
Exactly. And, I just love it so much. Like I said, I'm really like trying my best to be the most logical about it. I like coming up with stuff that like will make you go, oh, wait, what? I would have never saw that coming, especially like a guy my size. I'm very deceiving, so I can always pull out some surprises. And these guys help me think of so many things that I can do. And we just added Kylie Ray to, she's another one of my trainers, and she's amazing as well.
Oh, she's one of my favorites, and a favorite amongst my friends as well.
She's fantastic. And then that's another one. I sing her praises until I got no more air in my lungs. So it's great to be surrounded by those three training me. I don't see how right now I'm like, this can't go wrong, man. I got three of the best in the game. So yeah, I'm in a really good place now. I mean, it took me a while to get to that good place, but I think it took so long because I belonged here before I started actually taking matches, So.
Gotcha. So would you say then the journey was worth it though?
Absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to always wish I could have gotten where I wanted to sooner, like on the first time around and everything. Of course, I'm going to want that. But I feel like with what I know now and what I've been taught since then, man, like the fact that I'm coming out now, it's like, man, it's hard to put into words, like a flower's blossoming and it's the most beautiful flower you're going to ever see, I guess, as opposed to like some weeds growing. I don't know. I don't really know how to word it, but yeah, man, I feel much better taking matches now in retrospect, of course. Hindsight's 2020. Absolutely. Taking matches now after training with those guys, substantially better off for me in the long run.
Awesome. So it sounds like you were able to surround yourself with a lot of good people through your training, which is a great thing. What would you say was probably the best piece of advice you were given? Who gave it to you, and is it something that you still use to this day?
It's a combination of many things, but I'll tell you the one that sticks out to me the most
Okay.
right now, because it's a lot of things, but the one that sticks out to me the most is I was talking to Isaiah Velasquez, and I was working on trying to figure out how to portray my character. I was working so hard, like trying to be like a gimmick. I was like, what is this gimmick? What is this character? And he was like, he looked at me and he was like, dude, you're 250 pounds, you're muscular, you're big. You're not a gimmick, you're important. That's you. You go in and you're important. And I was like, man, I'm so worried about being a character when I really just need to present how important I am. Because we all, I mean, when you think about it, like anybody that's performing is important. We're all paying to see these people. But you have to let them know that you're important. You don't have a gimmick. You're not this guy, you're not that guy. You're important. That's your gimmick. Well, you don't have a gimmick. You are just important. And that sticks to me, and I think about that every day. I think about that the most.
That's pretty awesome. So
Results may vary. I don't think that applies to everybody.
all right. So how I mean, is there when you came up with the your character Jackson P Larkin, did you when you created it, was there anybody like anybody out there that you wanted to kind of style the character after, or was it always your intention to like kind of make it an original?
You know, you always want to be original, and when you're thinking about how you want to portray your character, you just automatically go to like those that've done it before you. You automatically just go to the past. So I'll be honest, like who did I think about a lot? I thought about, as far as character goes, I thought a lot about like Alberto Del Rio.
Okay.
When he first like entered WWE. I thought about him a lot. I also thought about Bobby Roode, only like when he was Robert Roode in TNA.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So like I looked at that stuff and went with it. I could have easily went to Ric Flair or Ted DiBiase for the type of character that I portray, but I was like, those guys are kind of untouchable with their gimmick. You kind of don't want to like copy that because they've done it so well that you just want to just stay away. That's just my opinion. So yeah, I looked at those two guys for like inspiration, and then tried to like look at my own life, because my character, like as I stated to you, is important. And I thought to myself, okay, what are things that people assume are important? So, I wear jewelry. Normally wearing like either like a nice shirt or like a suit. Like these are just things that people just assume make you important or like a big deal. Mm. But then, I'm thinking about my own personal life as to like, who were truly the important people that I've run into, and what can I take from that person? Which is, to me, even better, because nobody knows Greg from 79th and Western or wherever Greg is from. I know Greg. So when I present Greg or an extension of Greg, it's a new character to most people, at least if I portray it correctly, So the influences came a little bit from everywhere.
Okay, cool. Now, how similar is Jackson P Larkin to you as a person?
I would say similar-ish. So we all have something that makes us feel good. Like, I don't know about you. Some people get like a brand new suit and they feel good in the suit and they feel like they look good and they're confident, Like women will go to the hair salon, get their hair done, and they feel amazing. Like whatever that feeling is for you, like what would that feeling be for you, if you don't mind me asking? Like what?
Well, actually, for right now, for me, something that's making me feel good is getting on the scale this morning, seeing what I weighed, and making the conscientious decision to do something about it. You know, I went out and actually, as of earlier this morning, we're recording on Friday, September 18th. I went and joined Weight
You
Watchers.
joined Weight Watchers. I saw that earlier. And
Yes.
congrats to you, man. Good luck on that journey.
Thank you.
And so yeah, I'm gonna take that. So let's say you look at the scale next week and you dropped like 5 pounds. That feeling that you have when you drop 5 pounds is my character, and you turn it up to like 100.
Okay.
Because you're gonna be more confident when you drop that 5 pounds, and you're gonna start looking at yourself a little differently in the mirror. You're gonna start trying on different clothes the more weight you shed, right? So that feeling that you get when you're going through that, that's my character. And I turn it up to 100 and make it super arrogant so you hate it. So that's like the best way I can describe my character. Most would say like when a guy gets a haircut and he gets like a fresh shave and everything, I'm that feeling times 100. That's my character. That's what I portray. What you feel in that moment, turn it up to 100. That's Jackson P. Larkin.
Awesome. So now, so tell me about some of the places that you've worked so far.
Okay, so the first, so I worked Showtime Championship Wrestling. Rest in peace. They're no longer with us. It was actually kind of funny. That was actually my debut match on the last night of the company. Kind of got really lucky. I still talk to both those guys that ran the promotion. They're awesome guys, man. And they got more things coming in the future. So hopefully we'll all be blessed to witness what they have coming up. But yeah, that was my very first match. It was a fatal 4-way, and I just so happened to have gear. So we went full force there. So worked Showtime Championship Wrestling. Also worked Galley Lucha Libre. Also worked Freelance Underground. Fun fact, actually, this will be my 4th match, and it's televised.
Wow.
I think and you know, and I'm very hard on myself, and I think it says a lot about me. You know, somebody's seen some, in my opinion, because I've gotten so much better since those matches. Like I look at that and go, man, that's just trash. Like I hate it. And someone looked at that and said, you know what, I'm going to put you on TV. So maybe I should, you know, chill out and not be so hard on myself, but I just can't help it. So yeah, this next match is match number 4 for me, and I plan on showing off, man.
Awesome. So, okay, so how did you get in connection with the owner of CCW, John Bullard?
Funny story, actually. My opponent, back when we were cool back in the day, man. We were actually pretty good friends at one point, I would say. At least good associates, I would say. He actually introduced me to John, which is what kind of makes our story a little interesting. See, I didn't spill the beans on that yet. I was going to spill the beans on that in a couple weeks, but yeah, my opponent.
Breaking news.
My opponent actually told John about me. So here we are. It was actually that simple. John just he just told me to reach out to John, and me and John talked, and John liked me, and he liked the match that I sent him, and he said, all right, man, I'm gonna put you on the show. We don't know what we're gonna do yet. And I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. I mean, since then, me and Braven had a little falling out, and you know, we're not too fond of each other at the moment. So John was like, hey man, you guys can settle it in the ring.
Awesome. So kind of going into you know, a little bit, you know, away from CCW, do you follow the current product in any of the major organizations, WWE, AEW, Impact?
I'm just gonna say yes, because I can't watch every episode, but I'll watch like Wrestle Talk News or something and catch myself up. But yeah, I'm pretty in tune with most of the current product that's out right now.
And who are some of like your favorites right now that are on, you know, the major organizations? Like who are some?
All right, I'm gonna break it up like this. So on Raw,
Mm-hmm.
my personal favorites are Andrade, Angel Garza, and Drew and Keith.
Okay, good. Those are some good ones.
Those are my 4. On SmackDown, it is Chad Gable, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Matt Riddle, and Big E.
Okay.
NXT is too many to name. So I love Dexter Lumis and Bronson Reed. I can't miss a Bronson Reed match. I can't.
Yeah, he's actually someone that I've really been getting into as of late.
And Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. I find Kyle O'Reilly to be wildly underrated. That dude has everything. He is a star waiting to happen. If I had a company, he'd be in my title picture, without a doubt. Those are my top 4. Man, I seen Finn Balor live, and it changed my life. It's something about Finn Balor in person. When you see how fluid his moves are, when you see the way he moves in person, Finn Balor, while you might not notice it or see it because, you can say whatever you want, but Finn Balor in person is a whole different experience in my opinion. So, after seeing him in person, he wrestled Sami Zayn at an event in Chicago, and I was just like, this is probably one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in person. So, yeah, those are my guys in NXT. Watch NXT UK. I gotta get some Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Noam Dar in my life. What am I missing? Impact. Of course, my girl, the number 1, Smiley Kylie Ray. No one's better. I'll die on that hill. No one's better. Kylie Ray. I'm gonna always be an Eric Young fan, no matter what he's doing. I love the Rascals. AEW, Ricky Starks is awesome to me. I love Ricky Starks.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, Ricky Starks is sweet, man. That dude, I would love to wrestle him one day. Ricky Starks is definitely one. I'm trying to think who I go out of the way for in AEW. Ricky Starks, Moxley, of course. Love Moxley. Love him. Cody was on fire for me, man, until, Cody and Brody Lee. Yeah, those 2 guys, they're my guys too, man. And Cody was on fire up until, they just wrote him off.
Yep.
But, yeah, big fans of them. I'll be here all day, man. You want me to keep listening?
Hey, I ain't got anywhere to be.
New Japan. When it comes to New Japan, I have to watch. Who must I watch? Tetsuya Naito. I have to watch a Naito match.
Huge Naito fan myself.
I have to watch him. I have to watch Kota Ibushi. I have to watch Tama Tonga. I have to watch, for some reason, Sonata. I'm just always drawn to Sonata for some reason. Minoru Suzuki gives me chills.
Well, I think you're kind of saying if he gave me chills would be an understatement because he scares the crap out of me.
Nah, I don't know what it is, man. It's like I know better, but I want to just be involved one time in a match with Suzuki. I should know better, but I have to. I just have to get it off my chest, man. And it's plenty in New Japan, I'll be here all day. The women are fire too, man. I love me some Asuka. I can't miss Asuka. I can't miss Tasha Steelz. Love Kira Hogan. Love all the NXT girls. All of them are good. All of them. Io Shirai brings me to tears sometimes. I'm not afraid to admit. Rhea Ripley's on fire, man. I love Killer Kelly. Just it's so many, man, that I look. I just have to watch, man. I'm very passionate about wrestling, man. I'm just gonna be finding stuff and looking for stuff all day. I'm a big fan.
That's me too, because I'm always like especially if I get turned on to someone new, I'll go reach out to my friends and be like, hey, here's so and so. What's some stuff that I can go back and watch to really get an understanding? And I just love the fact that there's so much out there to like, you know, with the WWE Network, New Japan World, YouTube, Daily Motion, just where you can just go and literally find just about anything of anybody.
Anything you want, man. I just watched, what was the tag match I just watched? It took place in New Japan. It was Bam Bam Bigelow and Chris Benoit. I'm sorry for anybody that's not a Chris Benoit fan. I'm sorry. Just letting you know the match I saw.
Oh, please.
Bam Bam Bigelow and Chris Benoit versus Vader and Owen Hart.
Wow.
And I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't know this existed. Like, this is incredible. Because, you know, I was, people consider me a big guy, so I was trying to watch some Bam Bam tape to get some inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just came across all these matches that I didn't know were a thing. So, yeah, man, it's all out there for you. YouTube, whatever you want, man. If you just want to find some stuff, just type some stuff in.
Yeah.
And you probably find something.
After the show, if you can find that link, I may have you send that to me because I wouldn't mind.
I might have to check that out again because you know how you just get into that YouTube matrix and you're not even keeping up anymore?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna try to find it for you, man. No problem.
Yeah, if you find it, send me the link and stuff because I definitely would like to because I never even knew that match happened.
Yeah, it happened. And I'm going to apologize in advance because I know Dr. Death is in there somewhere. So I'm going to just throw that out there too. So I'm going to find that link for you.
Please. Yeah, no rush, man. Okay, so one of the and this is something I've kind of been asking everybody that I've had on and stuff because everybody's kind of had their own opinion on it. One of the biggest criticisms a lot of people have with the WWE is the seeming lack of like where they don't like seem to want to create like that new like big mega star. How important do you think it is to always be creating new stars?
I think in terms of like, I think it's always important to create new stars, especially when you, especially in a position where you're going to be seen weekly. You don't, just my opinion, you kind of don't want the same thing presented over and over again. But also on the flip side, if you have a formula that works and it's worked for you in the past, I mean, most people are under the belief of if it's not broke, why fix it? But I mean, I'm looking at WWE and like I can see where people come from with that. But right now, what they're doing with Roman shows that they're not afraid to at least tweak it. You know what I mean? The Roman heel turn is absolutely, it's fire, man.
I agree.
It's fire, and then you add that Jey Uso element. Like whoever's idea is killing it right now. I think it just needs to be a balance. I think when it comes to like these major companies like WWE, they know who they can rely on, so they're gonna constantly go with that. Like we could talk about how Roman was getting booed as a face, sure. But can you honestly say that Roman has had many bad matches?
No, I just think and I know a lot of the discussions I've had with, like in the Facebook groups I'm a part of and just like with people in person, I think a lot of people's issue with Roman Reigns was that he was force-fed down everyone's throats. I mean, basically the same thing that like The Rock went through when he first debuted.
Yeah.
And stuff, which to a certain extent I can agree with that, but it never made me hate him. I was just kind of but I mean, I really like what they're doing. I mean, I was shocked when he came back and won the Universal title, and I'm thinking, oh my God, here we go again. But what they've done with his character, in my personal opinion, is something that really should have been done a lot sooner, but I'm glad it's happening now because I think it's working.
Yeah, man, this goes to like COVID in a sense is kind of, for me, from my personal standpoint, COVID was kind of a blessing when it comes to wrestling.
Okay.
For me personally, I've gotten the time to think about a lot of things and grow as a wrestler, grow as a performer, and think a lot more and present myself as something better, because the original date for this show, I believe, was March 25th. And I feel like if I would have went out there March 25th, I would have had a subpar match. going in on October 3rd, gonna have a fantastic match. But going to the point of like the major companies, I think it's giving them a chance to actually experiment because they don't have a live audience to gauge the reaction of.
Mm-hmm.
They only have ratings and their gut. So now you kind of can be like, all right, let's take a risk and turn Roman heel, or just take these bigger risks. Oh, you know what? Everybody in New Day is injured. Let's go ahead and push Big E a little bit. Let's see what we can do with this finally. Now they have a chance to experiment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know why I'm under the personal feeling that under any other circumstances, Drew probably would have dropped the belt to Orton if there was a live audience. I don't know why I feel that way, but I just do. But it's giving them a chance to give Drew more to work with the belt. Because they're not gauging off of reactions. They're only going off of ratings and what people behind the scenes are saying and what they see in the ring. So, this is a chance for most of these companies to experiment.
So do you think then, because actually it brings up an interesting point. So do you think things like and I guess this could really apply to, CCW, any of the, local independents all the way up to the big leagues. Do you think things would be like, in terms of like what's going on with the characters, the stories and all, do you think that things would be a lot different in a lot of the organizations if COVID didn't happen?
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up. Do I think things would be a little different if COVID didn't happen? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like how different do you think things would be in like amongst all organizations, both independent and major, if COVID doesn't happen?
I think there would be a lot more. I mean, it was this is where like the bad part comes in of COVID, because there are people on the independent scene that are just like waiting to just be like, this is the next big thing. And COVID definitely put a hold on that. Like I look at Elena Black, for example. Ever since COVID ended, she's been everywhere. She's been on fire, and she could have done this in the short amount of time that independent wrestling just came back to now.
Mm.
Her stock has gone up exponentially. So I think like if COVID didn't happen, like me, because I know her personally, I know she has that drive to even like work that hard, and she would have been able to do that in March, April, May, and she'd probably be a mega, like even more popular than she already is now. So like that's kind of like where the bad comes in. The bad was more so on the independent side because we're all just trying to scrap and make it, right. And that was taken away from us. I mean, granted, we had time to think about who we are, but there are a lot of indie guys and girls that know who they are, that has something that worked for them for so long, and their stock was rising and it had to pause. So I think we'd have a lot more people probably getting performance center tryouts with WWE. We probably would have had a lot more people at AEW Dark getting those shots over the summer. So that was like kind of like the bad part with it. So I think we would have probably been exposed to a lot more indie people on a national level if COVID had never happened. Okay. That's kind of where the bad comes in.
Gotcha. So has other than kind of giving you more time to kind of get comfortable, with your upcoming match and stuff, has COVID affected your career at all?
No. Like I said, for me, COVID didn't give me a choice but to think about what I want to be, who I want to be, what I want to present. I only had 3 matches right before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was just getting my feet wet. And when COVID hit, I was like, man, it sucks I can't do this match. But at the same time, nothing was open. Couldn't go out to the bars, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't go out to eat. It was just you alone in the house, mm-hmm. or whoever you live with, just you in the house. And right. All I could think about was wrestling. All I could think about for me was, what do I need to do to get better? How can I portray myself in a way that will make people love me or hate me? What can I do with this? What can I do with that? What do I need to practice? I started doing more studying. All I would do was watch tapes of people that I would envy or tapes of people that are good at something that I wanted to get better at. So for me, COVID kind of forced me to focus because I knew there was going to be a time where we would go back out there. And I told myself, like, once it's time to go, it's time for you to show off. And you got to be ready to show off because people haven't had wrestling in their town in so long. So they're going to be hungry for it. And you don't want to disappoint. You don't want to disappoint people. So I just put that in my head, man. I was like, man, you can't let these people down. You can't let these children down that come out to see you get beat up, because I've been playing heel mostly. Like, they want to see you get beat up, man. You got to give them something to feel. So for me, it just reignited my focus, and I've been off to the races ever since, man.
All right, so speaking of your match here, tell the audience a little bit more about your match, and also like what the date, all that good stuff. It's your time, man.
Okay, man. So Saturday Night Grapple Masters is a Chicagoland Championship Wrestling show that will be taking place in Michigan City, Indiana, at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6. Tickets are $10, $30 for a family 4-pack. My opponent will be a guy who had the same, I guess you could say we kind of had the same beginnings. You know, people looked at us both as like the guys, the really athletic guys with the bright future and everything. I mean, Raven Fett's now at this point, he's kind of a joke to me. He's just a shell of what he used to be. He's trying to do this whole reinvention of himself. He tried to go off and change his appearance and everything, and now he keeps calling me out for some reason. I was minding my business, man. And now, you know, John gave us both what we wanted, and he keeps saying my name, and I'm going to give him a reason to stop saying my name and to leave me alone and to let me be. And he keeps trying to play hero to these people, and it's all a joke to me, man. I'm pretty much going in on October 3rd, ready to give this dude what he's been asking for. He's been pretty much asking to get his ass beat, and I'm just ready to do it. And I mean, honestly, it's that simple. He's like a Muay Thai guy. He's supposed to come at me with these kicks and these strikes, but I think it's going to be really hard to throw a strike when you're getting thrown over somebody's head. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really hard to throw a kick when you get caught and suplexed over your head. It's going to be really hard to throw a punch when you're going to be putting a Kimura, you know. Pretty much going to break them down systematically and pick up the pieces after it's done, almost like a vulture on a dead carcass. That's the mission. Put down Brave and Fat.
Alrighty then. So
all right, he gets me hot, man.
Hey, it's all good, man. Hey, like I said, this is your forum, man. You get out what you need to get out and stuff.
But I will, yeah. But please, if you can, please come on out, man. It's a family-friendly environment. Like I said, tickets are $10. If 4 of you come, you get buy 3, get 1 free. Come on out, man. It'll be a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, children, all alike. We'll be happy to have you.
All right, so last question before we call it a night here. Jackson, how can people interact with you on social media?
The absolute best way, because I am terrible at social media. I'll be straight up with you. I do have a Twitter, but we're not even gonna go there. Instagram. Instagram is the best way to reach me. My Instagram handle is JPL_2531. Again, just to say it again, it is JPL_2531. And everybody asked me this, the 25 and the 31, those are the days that my daughters were born. So that's why.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Oh, that's why that's there. So, yeah, if you want to find me on Instagram, that's the best way to find me, JPL_2531.
Awesome. And is there any way that fans can buy, do you have any merch that fans can purchase?
Not yet, because I'm a heel and I don't do that. You don't deserve my merch. You don't deserve to dress like me.
Alrighty then, I got you. So, all right, so Jackson P. Larkin versus Braven coming up on October 3rd, 2020 for Chicagoland Championship Wrestling. Be there, get your tickets. It's going to be a great night. Jackson, I want to thank you for your time tonight. Any last thoughts before we go?
All I want to say to you, first of all, Dennis, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
And again, just want to encourage everybody to come out to see Brave and Fett get massacred. That's it.
Alrighty then. Well, Jackson, thanks for your time, and have a good night.
Back at you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks again to Jackson P. Larkin for his time. I hope you really enjoyed that episode because I know I did talking to him. I'm really looking forward to his match against Braven coming up at the October 3rd CCW tapings. Tickets are still available. $10 for general admission, or you can get a family 4-pack for $30. October 3rd at the American Legion in Michigan City, Indiana. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the information on your screen. Before I call it a day, night, whatever you want to call it whenever you're listening to this, I want to give a couple special shout outs to a couple big supporters of the show. First off, I want to give a shout out to probably one of my biggest fans right now, Spencer Cantor. He hooked me up with this really cool all-out event poster signed by everybody that's on the poster. He was happened to be able to attend the All Out pay-per-view recently, and he was nice enough to pick this up. And Spencer, I can assure you that this is proudly hanging up in the podcast studio right now. Also want to give a shout out to my guy Jacob Meir, who runs Pro Wrestling Junkies. If you're not part of this group on Facebook, do yourself a favor and go join. Jacob does a lot of virtual meet and greets. He's had guys on such as Kurt Angle. He just had on Rob Van Dam. He's also had on the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, and Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, Rocky Romero, and tons of other guests. And he's got some really great guests lined up. So go check out Pro Wrestling Junkies on Facebook for all the latest information. Jacob was actually nice enough to send me a couple of autographs that will be going up in my studio as well. He got me this really cool Carl Anderson autograph to go with a couple of Gallows autos that I have up already. And knowing that I'm a huge Lex Luger fan, he was nice enough to send me this 11x17 art print signed by Lex Luger as well. And so Jacob, thank you so much. Spencer, thank you so much for not only for the really cool autographs, but thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for listening to the latest episode of What Do You Say with DDJ, and I'll see you in about a week with a brand new episode.